Hi. So, Abid, you can hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. So, I think Khalid is not here at the moment, so if he comes, he will join. So, the today's unit is software development methodologies,
Okay.
and the core learning outcomes are understanding the role of methodologies in software development, and be able to design an information system using a software development methodology. So, basically, software engineering is a very vast subject, and in this level, like this is level 5, certain assumptions are made that the learner is already aware of software engineering. Like in level 4, there is a unit, uh, software engineering, and into the software engineering, they assume that understanding the software engineering approach to design and development of software, then understanding the key aspects of the software engineering, then be able to apply a software engineering approach to software and system development. And so certain assumptions are already made, or maybe they could be the preconditions to start with the level 5. So I hope that you would have already. So have you studied somehow about the software engineering, Abid? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Have you studied before software engineering?
Yeah, just a little bit in level 4.
In level 4. So from where you were doing the level 4?
Arden University, the distance learning.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, good. So I move forward with the current unit, the software engineering and software development methodologies now. So let us go to the software development methodologies, and session 1 is understand the role of methodologies in software development. So before you move towards the software development methodologies, I would recommend you to go through certain books. The books are especially the software engineering by Ian Somerville. So it is a pioneer book. It's a very good book in the software engineering. In that particular book, you'll get an introduction, software processes, agile software development, system modeling, architectural design, implementation, testing, evolution, and almost everything about the software engineering you would learn, and you need to go through this book. Let me show you the basic software engineering slides. Like this is software cost, software projects and products, many more definitions about the software engineering into the chapter 1, chapter 2, and many more things over there. So it is mandatory for you to go through these software engineering slides, and by the Ian Somerville. Ian Somerville is the pioneer, is the writer of the book, and you can have a look here, software engineering by Ian Somerville, and it will really help you as a textbook for the software engineering and this unit, software development methodologies. So I start with this. Simply, what is a software development? A software development is a process of defining, designing, testing, and implementing a new software application or program. So when you start with a software development, you are basically, first you define the software, then you design, then you test, implement it. But the question arises that what way, which method, which idea, or which number of steps you will follow in order to implement the software. So obviously, the software development has to be carried out as software or the system development life cycle. Basically, you can call the software as a system. System integrates the components, individual components of an entity. It could be the software itself, or obviously the software could be used with the help of certain other hardware components, but overall, basically you develop a system. So these terms are interchangeable. You can say that software life cycles, or you can say that system development life cycle. So overall, what you need to do is, probably you could start with a plan. In the number one should be the planning, project planning and feasibility study. You plan a project, what you want to do, and is it feasible to implement it or not. Then after the feasibility, you look at the analysis of the requirements definition. You basically get the requirements, that what functionalities needs to be implemented into the particular system or software. Then you basically design the system. Designing a system and implementing a system is little bit different thing. When you say you have designed a software, it doesn't mean that you have really created a software or you have implemented a software, but there is a much more value of the design as compared to the implementation. If your design is correct, if your design is efficient, then implementation is the image of the design. However, if the design has a failure, then no matter if it is implemented correctly according to the design, but the system can have a failure. So the system design is most important, and implementation is the reflection of the software design. Once the software is designed, then obviously software could have many components and different operations implemented individually, and there comes a stage where integration and testing is involved. You really need to integrate and test it, and then you really check the acceptance, installation and deployment, whether this software is deliverable and is it in the acceptable form to be installed and deployed. And once it is installed and deployed, then you look up the maintenance. The maintenance could be the performance of the software, or any future changes that you really need to introduce or incorporate into the further versions of the software. So overall software we defined, and then software has to go through certain steps. Certain steps needs to be implemented, needs to be gone through, and then you reach from 1st to 7. Now the question arises that from 1st to 7, how you will be following? Would it be a complete step-by-step solution, or maybe it could be partial solutions? Probably it could be the case that you could not complete the step 1 and you had some partial information, and then are you supposed to wait for the remaining part of the feasibility or system requirements and then develop a design? Or maybe you could create the partial system design based on the partial requirements given. it really matters that how you want to go ahead. In most of the cases, it is not always possible to get the requirements in one go. In one go, it really doesn't makes it possible that the customers, the clients, or the users of the system may give you the correct and complete information. So here certain methodologies are to be introduced. There is a need of the methodology, that which methodology you will adopt, like whether you will go through the one by one steps until every step is completed, then you move ahead. Otherwise, probably you could start with a partial start with the further work on the partial steps, or maybe you could go ahead with the incremental, and so on. So everything would have been carried out according to some strategy. So those strategies are basically the software development methodologies. Now, if you look at this, there is some definitions about the project planning, feasibility study. Basically, the planning is establish a high-level view of the intended project and determines its goal, as we discussed earlier. In the analysis, refines project goals into defined functions and operation of the intended application, analyzes end user information needs. Then the system design is basically describes the desired features and operations in detail, including screen layouts, business rules, process diagrams, pseudocode, and other documents. So screen layouts, business rules, process diagrams, pseudocode is kind of it's not the code in any programming language, but it is the code written in some human language, so that it could be understood by the anyone. Then the implementation is the real code which is written into the software. Then obviously the integration testing brings all pieces together into a special testing environment, then checks for errors, bugs, and interoperability. Acceptance, installation, and deployment, the final stage of the initial development, where the software is put into the production and runs actual business. Maintenance, what happens during the rest of the software's life changes. Whenever the software is developed, the software has a lifetime after the delivery. Then certain changes are expected, corrections are expected, additions, moves to a different computing platforms, and more needed. This is the last glamorous and perhaps the most important step of all, goes on seemingly forever. So like a car, you have a car, if you can maintain it, it will long last. If you cannot maintain, then it will not be long lasting. Now, the software development methodologies. As I discussed earlier, that the process of the system development life cycle or the software life cycle has to be carried out throughout certain steps, but in what way the steps needs to be carried out, it really matters. So the developers, the software developers, analysts, they have been adopting certain methods like waterfall model, prototype model, incremental model, iterative model, V model, spiral, Scrum, rapid application development, DSDM, RUP, rational unified process, extreme programming, agile, lean, dual V model, TDD, FDD. So these are models, basically the approaches taken by different software developers, software development teams, in order to produce the software systems depending on the nature of the software, and they select the methodology accordingly. So if we have a look on the waterfall model, so waterfall model is basically the sequential design process. Progress is seen as a flowing steadily downwards like a waterfall through system development life cycle. What happens that initially when people wanted to develop the software, they assume that requirements should have been given. Then based on the requirements, you come up with a design of the software. Then you implement the reflection of the design. Then you verify or test it and let it maintain. So initially, when they were new in the software development in those days, they used to carry out the development into a kind of waterfall steps. A waterfall steps means they thought that requirements should have been taken. Once they completed the requirements, then they carried out the design, then implementation, verification and maintenance. But unfortunately, that particular model did have the advantages as well as disadvantages. Because how and why those advantages and disadvantages, let us see. Do we know all requirements in the beginning? If the requirements were known at all, then it was good. But if the requirements were not complete at that time, then obviously it was a problem, and it could create a problem. If we have a problem, we need to go back to several phases. Now, if the requirements were not completed, then what they did is they didn't have a choice to return to the requirements, but they were supposed to go through the partial requirements, and then they designed, they implemented, verified, maintained, and then they again revised the requirements, and it really resulted long project time, usually a year or more. Slow release cycle. This software development is given on a slow release cycle. Finding problems early is cheaper than later, proven to waterfall only. So if there is any problem in the requirement design or implementation, then obviously you could tackle at that particular stage. But if you found that you have implemented the particular part and there was a problem in the requirements, then obviously you would have to go through the design implementation, every aspect of these steps. So jump to the next phase only if proper one is completed. That's the particular rule. The positive things, the pros is detailed early analysis cause huge advantages at the later phase. So this assumes that a detailed early analysis is given. If a bug is found earlier, it is much cheaper and more effective to fix than the bugs found in the later. So they assume that you need to implement or figure out anything in the advance. Requirements should be set before desired charts starts. Requirements should be set before design starts. Points to importance of the documentation. It gives an importance to the documentation, this model, that everything should have been documented in advance. Disciplined and well-structured approach, effective for stable software projects, easy to plan from project management point of view. So this project is only stable. This waterfall model is only effective for stable software projects. The stable software projects are those in which everything is clear, that what has to be implemented, what has to be designed. Otherwise, you will have not effectiveness into this model. For example, if you are not sure about all functionalities of the software, you are not sure about the all requirements of the users, then this model probably will not be good. How? Because these are the disadvantages. The changes are expensive. Client does not explicitly know what he or she wants. So obviously, if the clients are not known that what they really and how they will be satisfied, or are they completely able to provide the requirements, then it is basically not good. Clients does not explicitly know what is possible to have. Need to finish every phase fully, otherwise you cannot do. So that's a disadvantage of the waterfall model, that you only can go through or move forward towards any particular phase if it is completed earlier. Long projects, difficult to keep the plan. So if it is the long project, then obviously long projects can take a longer to finish a particular phase, like requirements, and maybe you could spend lots of time on the requirement gathering, and you can run out your time of the other stages. Designers may not know in advance how complex features implementation, mayor twice, cut once. So this basically the strategy enforces you that you mayor twice and cut once, so that you should not do any mistake in the further successive stages. However, if you would mayor twice, then obviously it will take a time. Now, incremental build model, a model between waterfall and iterative methods. Now it goes through in somehow waterfall as well as, but in the increments. Increments, like you have 5 stages, then out of the 5 stages you keep on producing the particular percentage of the work into the iterations. And for example, if you have 25% requirements, then maybe you could start with the design of the 25% and then implementation and testing and so on. So the model is designed, implemented and tested incrementally. A little more is added each time. Finished when satisfies all requirements. Combines the elements of the waterfall model with the iterative philosophy of prototyping. How long test phase needed? It limits the minimum length of a development increment. So test phase is basically that whatever you implement, the increment, you can test it. No functional requirements may cause a problem. Like the requirements could have been changed, and iteratively the functional requirements should have been implemented, and the overall functioning cannot make a problem. Also, hard to place the efforts needed for a development environment creation. Iterative methods. Iterative methods are different combinations of both iterative design or iterative methods and incremental build model. Now, as I discussed, that iterations is basically the looking at every phase in the iteration. In the incremental, you keep on incrementing the implementation by somehow kind of percentage work, and iterations allow you to do some work on particular entity, particular phase, and then go to the another one, then go to another one, and go to another one. Now look at this. In the incremental, basically what you need to do, if you have to draw a picture, then you basically do it into the pieces. You completed, let's say 25%, and then you completed 50%, and then you completed rest of the picture. While in the iterative, what you did, you did all parts partially, and you kept on working on the parts partially, and then finally you produced into the final product. So by looking at the picture, this concept is little bit clear, that incremental basically keeps on working into the percentage wise or into the steps, step by steps, until it reaches to the 4, while in the iterative it basically takes the length of the project as an M and then completes into the width. However, the incremental starts with the width and keeps on moving towards the height. So the better terminology would be, the incremental starts with the width and reaches to the height. However, in the iterative, it starts with the height and keeps on fulfilling the width from pieces to pieces. Now, prototyping. Prototyping is basically creating a prototype of the software application, i.e. incomplete version of the software program being developed. A prototype typically simulates only a few aspects of and may be completely different from the final project. Like this, as a prototype, you gave a kind of idea that, okay, this is a form, these are the input fields, and these are the buttons, and then you will get an expected, maybe the report, and here is the particular software view, and probably this prototype is drawn with the pencil, but you can create the prototype, the buttons and everything into the software program itself, no matter if its buttons and every functionality would have been implemented or not. But however, you can come up with a prototype. So prototyping is also a model. Now we move little bit further towards the other methods, like a spiral model, combining elements of design and prototyping in stages. Now we knew that what the prototyping is, combines the feature of prototyping and waterfall model. Now the spiral is basically the waterfall model by integrating the prototyping. It means you start with requirements and then come up with a prototype and then check whether it is fine or not. Let us see. A spiral model is intended for the large, expensive and complicated projects. Advantages of top-down and bottom-down concept. Now, if we have a look that once we have determined the objectives, then we identify and resolve the risks, that whether the objectives have any risk. If no, then you develop something and test it, then issue the particular portion of the software. Like you started from here, for example, you explain the requirements, then you produce a prototype. A prototype is basically the would help you to reduce the risk, that whether a the partial requirement is risk-free. If it is risk-free, then come up with a development, and then after the development you plan the next iteration, and once you come into the next iteration, again you go through and determine the objectives again, Then based on the further extended objectives, you come up with risk analysis, produce the prototype 2, and then develop it and test it and then release it. And then again you identify the objectives, then you identify the risk and resolve those risks into the prototype, and then develop or implement it. Possibly at the final circle you have a detailed design, you have a detailed code, you have a detailed integration, you have a detailed test and implementation, and then you release as all. But make sure that all those stages would have been passed through the risk analysis at every stage in the form of prototyping, and prototyping should have been produced as well as approved and assessed and developed and reviewed at every stage. So this is the spiral model. Then rapid application development. Minimal planning and fast prototyping, developing instead of planning. The lack of pre-planning generally allows software to be written much faster and makes it easier to change requirements. Traditionally, you analyze, you design at high level, then detailed level, then you construct, then you test and implement. While in the rapid application design, you analyze and design quickly, maybe partially. You demonstrate that how your system looks like, you refine it and build it, you refine it and build it, and basically it comes through the prototype cycles, and then once the all prototypes are built, you test it and implement it. The question arises that why you need a rapid application development? The answer is that sometimes in a big competition of the market in the software development, the customers, they don't have any limitation, or the limitation of the resources or the software developers, or maybe a kind of a marketing, by following the marketing strategy. For example, there are 100 software developers and there are about 5, for example, the 20 companies who want to hire the software developers. Then question arises to whom they will hire. So it is only possible that either they should have the complete requirements to be produced to the hundreds of the developers, and they could contract with anyone, or maybe it is also at their discretion that to whom they will assign the project. So as a software developer, by introducing their software company, the developers can come up with the rapid application. For example, if there is a website of selling products, and by using the rapid application development method, they can quickly create a prototype and show to the customers that okay, we have done this for you. And surprisingly, the clients or the customer, they can be attracted. Oh, this is the particular implementation, we liked it, really liked it, and we want to go ahead with this. So there is a little bit advanced work done into this rapid application development, but the advantages are that those particular advanced work done on the volunteering basis, maybe then they could get the project by attracting towards the clients. Maybe there could be the other reasons as well to come up with the rapid application development, so that maybe the company owners, the company managers could have been satisfied by giving them a rapid application developments using the prototypes. Agile. The agile is basically an umbrella term for several iterative and incremental software development methodologies. The most popular agile methodologies include extreme programming, Scrum, Crystal Dynamic System Development Methods, DSDM, Lean Development, Feature-Driven Development. Most important phases they have are self-organizing, cross-functional teams, adaptive planning, evolutionary development and delivery, a time-boxed iterative approach, rapid and flexible response to change, conceptual framework. Now let us see a little bit more that how agile works. So agile is basically the umbrella for many methods which help them to the software developments to be self-organized, cross-functional teams. The teams could be working on individually. Adaptive planning. The planning should have a flexibility to be adapted. Evolutionary development and delivery. The delivery is basically done into the evaluation and into the pieces from in the iterations. A time-box iterative approach. A timely delivery into the pieces. Rapid and flexible response to change. If anything goes wrong, then iteration, the changes would have been done into that particular piece. So conceptually, it's a framework. Now, Scrum. Scrum is an iterative and incremental agile software development framework, a flexible, holistic product development strategy. Development team works as an atomic unit, opposing to sequential approach, cross-functional teams, verification inside the teams. Now look at this, that here are certain stages which needs to go through, that every stage is to be taken by the every step is done individually and by an atomic team. How an atomic team? That, for example, sprint backlog is here. The daily Scrum meetings are done on particular time. Potential shippable product increment is delivered. If you start from here, then product backlog, the boxes could have been done individually. This product picture may not be that much clear, but Scrum itself says that, for example, if someone is working on the requirements, then someone should have been working on the design, someone should have been working on the implementation without affecting each other, but only through the incremental way. And for example, the partial increments are already done, then the next team could have been work on the incremental requirements, and further the design could have been produced to the implementation team. But overall, the Scrum allows you to work your team independently and on the atomic units without affecting the overall approach. Extreme programming improves the software quality and responsiveness to changing customer requirements. A type of agile software development, frequent releases in short development cycles, introduce checkpoints where new customers' requirements can be adopted. Another, rational unified process, an iterative development process framework created by Rational Software Corporation (IBM), not a concrete perspective process but adaptable framework intended to be tailored by the development organizations expected to select elements of a process that are inappropriate. Basically, we will discuss this Scrum, extreme programming, rational unified process in detail in the next session, and in detail. V model is an extension of the waterfall model, show the relationship between the development phase and test phase, time and project completeness versus level of abstraction. What happens? The V model is basically the combination or the extension of the waterfall. How? For example, if you started with the concept of operations, then you came to the requirements and architecture, then you had a detailed design, then you had an implementation. Then they suggest in this model that concept of operation or every step should have been verified at parallel, in parallel in the V shape, so that once you start and go through every step, then every step should have been tested at the same time, so that it should look like a kind of V model. Why V model? Why not the parallel model? The reason is that you start with some phase, you have some output for the next phase, and then obviously once you have some phase available here, then you can go through the testing of that phase, and then you can go through the model into this way. Difference between application software and system software. Application software is a computer software designed to help the user to perform a specific task. So obviously the application software, they have a specific purpose, while the system software is a computer software designed to run application software as well as the system itself. The system software creates its own environment to run itself and run other applications. So this was about the first learning outcome. We discussed like software development methodologies, which were like process-oriented, object-oriented, rapid application development, and many more software developments. And then in the next unit, we will start with a heavy versus light. And with the next learning outcome, after the break, we will discuss the methodology selection, agile methods in detail, the evaluation methods. So, do you have any question? Hello?
No, sir, don't have.
Okay, that's fine. So I end the recording of this session now, and I will come back after 5 minutes for the learning outcome 2. Is that okay?
Okay.